What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Buy Box Bandits podcast. Happy holidays from everyone at BBB. Garrett, Miles, Danny, Lance, all the good people at BBB,
That's
right?
it.
Guys, wish you guys happy holidays and such. Today we're joined by one of our good friends, Big Cat FBA, aka Max Cat FBA, aka Cat, aka Max Catalano, right? And we're one of the people who figured this out quicker than anyone, right? Max did around 100K revenue in just his fourth month, really only third, I guess third full month in August of last year. So we're gonna dive into, really getting good at this stuff fast. How you get good at this stuff fast. Max has an interesting origin story as well with selling on Amazon. But I think you guys will enjoy the stuff in terms of getting good at OA and RA fast. Even if you have a job, even if you're in school, Max has both of those going on in his life and everything. But thanks for joining us, man.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me, man. Yeah, like where do I start really?
Well, first, how's morale? How's morale? You're
True.
coming. We're coming
First,
off of
first big
a
before, yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
morale's always high. Morale's always to the moon. Like it's like you always said. What's it called? Momentum's contagious. So it just keeps going. So
Yeah, what are you at for December?
a little bit under 30 days trailing, I'm a little under 200K, but I think I should have sold through a little bit more earlier on in
But it's
December.
your first
Um,
time though. It's your first
Yeah.
go around. You know what I mean? Like I could tell you exponential, I could tell you unlimited mistakes I made my first December.
Yeah, so I probably should have been closer to like 250 around there, but I still have a ton of inventory left all around. So
But
hopefully sell through a little bit more
so
towards
let's
the
dig into that off the bat, right? So obviously there was a lot of talk about December, how big it was going to be, what to expect. But having said all of that, was it what you expected? Was it more or less about what you expected? Was it as hectic, as crazy? Like, kind of take us through what you experienced compared to what you expected, and kind of how you'll use that to catapult next year.
So I definitely think so there's crazy hype surrounding
Yeah, of course.
Q4 and December and everything. So I feel like I went into Q4 over prepared. Like I was so ready for it. So whereas most people are probably like disorganized, having stuff all over the place, trash like taking up all their like prep areas and whatnot. Like I had all the systems already in place, so that way that didn't really happen to me. So it was kind of like I was running like a well-oiled machine. Um, Other than I feel like administratively, the stuff that I should have been doing online got a little bit neglected just because I was packing and sending orders all day, every day. And that's also something I'm conditioned to because I FBM all year round. So it was like, yeah, it was a little more intense, but it was manageable for sure.
But and I feel like you also, and rightfully so, because you were prepared for it. You had the team and the people in place so
Yeah.
that you weren't necessarily overwhelmed. Because I feel like a lot of the drawback for a lot of people is that they spend all of their time producing, fulfilling orders,
Mhm.
and unfortunately, the sourcing piece, the buying piece, gets left to the wayside. Right? Like, how do you manage the time when you have 250 orders to place, but you now, or to fulfill, but you now have to place more orders for the next day? And so I feel like your ability and capability to both produce and source and buy at the same time, that was probably super uh, valuable in terms of like how not overwhelming it was for you, but also how productive it was.
Yeah, I mean, I would have, 1,000 products get delivered in a truck over to my house, and then I'd have guys bringing it in, organizing it into different bins and whatnot, and then I would just be at my laptop buying more for for them to bring in like the next day or whatever. So I think that gave me a leg up on everybody else that might have had to do it all themselves. Bringing in the boxes, unboxing, organized, prepping, shipping. Like I'm only buying and then prepping and shipping while the other guys were organizing and taking everything and putting it in bins and organizing.
And so, what was the peak for you, both units wise, what day of the month it was, and kind of overall top line?
December 11th, I think I did like a little under 1,000 units, maybe no, probably like 800 units, and it was like 26,000 in one day.
All
And the fun
FBM.
the fun part about that is you have such control over that being 1,500 or 500, depending on how you want to price, depending on mood, depending on morale on that specific day. Like you legit have so much power
He says,
in terms of how much
depending
you
on
want to do.
mood.
Yeah, like well, legit, right? Because I would be sitting there with like, especially if we're talking about if you're in 2 day handling time, which is kind of weak sauce, but I don't even know what that was a year ago.
Zero day.
Honestly, the term said
Zero day.
the term exactly right. So I would be sitting there on a Sunday knowing I got 1,600 orders ready to roll. And if I don't raise the price on this, that will be 2,500 in the next 24 hours. Like,
Oh,
and
man.
that was a thing I did a really, really poor job back in my heavy FBM days, was having help fulfilling, because the buying part's easy. If you got a good social circle, the buying part's very easy, but then it gets the fulfillment side of things. And I think a lot of people solve the buying side of things, but at least the really, really good people. And I was telling a lot of these guys that are starting to see their first, I mean, they did that first 100, that first 200 month, the past 30 days or 45 days or whatever. You'll have help in the future, but you need to max out and take advantage of learning and getting proof of concept this year so that you're confident to buy heavier on in the future as well. I think is a pretty cool thing too. And then can you kind of just dig into your origin story? Because you have a very unorthodox origin story, as well as just kind of like how the whole kind of system we have at like our whole friend group operates these days.
Wait, is this the first time we've had you on? It can't be, right?
Yeah.
Oh, is it? I
Well,
know
we've
I've had
seen
you on
but
mine.
yeah, first BBB though. First
Yeah.
BBB.
Yeah, I didn't even. You guys texted me. You were like, "Oh, you want to hop on? Hop on a live?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." And the next thing you know, I didn't even know that we were hopping on $5 bandits. I would have worn my. I would have worn my shirt. The
The
color.
BBB.
Yeah, but man, where do I start? So I started in technically in March, and I was sourcing for PB Flips, Papasil, for free.
Your fraternity brother. Your
Yeah,
fraternity.
my frat brother.
Contact. But
Uh,
there's a lot more where that came from in terms of this story too.
yeah, yeah. So he was my frat brother in college. I was still living in Westchester, working my 9 to 5 down there, looking for like, another source of income because 9 to 5s just kind of aren't, you know, they're not it all the time.
I mean,
So
for some people, right? For some
yeah,
people, they're cool 9 to 5 if that's what they want to do, right? We're not necessarily like hating on 9 to 5s, but
Oh,
like their
absolutely.
I still
preference.
got
Yeah.
mine.
Yeah.
I still
It's
got mine.
just different. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I mean like it's just like the idea of working for yourself is kind of cool to me. Um, But so I wanted a little side hustle. Saw that he started up with Miles and coaching program, and saw that he started getting some good progress, some good success. So I was like, "What's going on?" He came to my house, showed me on the spot, filed my LLC, um, and and I waited like I think I had everything, all the back end stuff. So Seller Central open, Bank of America account, and then my Plum all ready in like under 6 to 8 weeks.
Hmm.
And in that time, I sourced for free for him to find leads, and like all he did was tell me why it was good or why it wasn't.
I mean, that's so huge though,
Yeah,
because
and
so many people won't have uh I don't know the word I'm looking at, not necessarily like the lack of ego to be like, all right, I'll work for you for free for X amount of months. But the learning that takes place within that time period will
Lack of
catapult
risk
you.
too. Yeah.
so yeah, I mean that's kind of like what shot like my all my knowledge to the moon, and then probably late May, I sold my first product, and then June was really my first full month. I did 40K my first full month, and then switched off personal credit in July, did around 40K again, and then in August, which was like my third full month, I did like 100 and was it 112 or 120K? Um,
That was back to school.
These are like substantial profit numbers quick. You know what I mean? Like that because you're obviously learning, so it's probably right around 15%, but then back to school obviously should be higher. Right. And these numbers can be much higher too for anyone listening, depending on how much you want to RA versus how much you want to delegate, how much you want to sit at the crib and buy stuff OA, right? You can make a bunch of money OA, just like 10% margin, or you can do a bunch with RA way higher if you want to, or you have that choice.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're super busy, so I also, while I was starting up my Amazon store, I had my MBA, so I was working through that. I graduated last week. I think it
W.
was a week and a half ago. So, now I officially have my MBA. I was working my 9 to 5, traveling all over the country because I travel a lot for work. And then starting up my Amazon store and, taking care of the family, taking care of relationship, whatnot. But yeah, so there's a lot of stuff on my plate. Still looking to RA, still was looking to FBM. But I think the key to if you have a lot on your plate is to work up as fast as possible so that way you can start to outsource. Because outsourcing is really what the key to success is in most business models. You don't want to be like fully immersed in your business. You want to take your foot off the gas and then um be like a little bit of more of a passive boss or passive have
Yeah,
some.
and as you
It,
build up the skill, you gain more leverage, you get more choice over that, right? So you said you met Patrick from the frat, right? How, okay, because it's an interesting thing for anyone who's really, really in the Twitter space. They probably might, a lot of people might not even think we're serious about this, but can you explain how basically like 20 of the other frat members now are Amazon sellers as well?
Yeah, so I feel like it just kind of happened naturally, organically. I remember Gunner calls me up on the phone. Haven't talked to him in a little bit, and he just calls me up. He's like, "Yo, what are you doing?" Next thing you know, I'm like, "Follow your LLC, like get started." So then Gunner's on board. Then you got Lucas hit me up, and he was like, "Oh, dude, I want to do what you're doing." Like Lucas is on board, and then it just had like this trickle down effect where I was posting on social media, and like I would send them in like group chats and stuff from what that we still have or whatnot. I'd be like, "Yo, like, can you like support the group like." It'd be cool if you like tuned in on like my interview with Miles. Like I think that was the first YouTube video like I was ever even a
Oh,
part of.
okay. So that was at like end of August, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So a lot of them started like end of summer, like probably late July or to late August. And then now I think like Kutcha did 75K in December. Um, I think Josh is doing a ton right now too. They're all killing it. So that was awesome. But it's kind of just like they started seeing my success and then they would call me on the phone and I'd be like, dude, just do it. Just do it. Like it's obviously working. So just run it up.
Well, there's stringent requirements too for group chat membership,
Yeah.
right? There's
Yeah.
stringent requirements.
Gotta have the LLC, gotta have the bank account, gotta have the plum to get into the group chat. Like,
And
and then
then
you gotta earn the Nike Ungate. You gotta earn the.
oh
yeah,
yeah,
and you can get kicked easily too for asking a dumb question.
it's cutthroat. It's cutthroat.
It's interesting though because like so back when I started, like it took me, and again, this is content wasn't the same, the info space wasn't the same, but it took me like 6 to 8 months to really start to like gain confidence in what I was doing, gain confidence and see the scalability. But for
Mhm,
like the frat guys and a lot of the people that are just naturally coming into the space now, it's like you have that buy-in so much quicker, right?
mhm.
Or you get that buy-in, you get that validation so quick. And so it's like a lot of the people that you're introducing have seen your success in, 2, 3, 4 months. So it's like they already have the buy-in. They just need to learn the process and then it's game on from there. Right. So many people are just have it so the blueprints right in front of them. They just follow what's worked for other people, and they can really see the same success.
Yeah, and that's kind of like the positive of having the whole group available as well. So like a lot of people probably noticed like when I first got into it, it was like me, Dre, Mason, John, like that whole squad. And then naturally over time everybody kind of just became busy and like we kind of like, you know, branched off and then now it's like I hang out with Steven like probably once a week. Like Nick, me and Steven are going to get food all the time. We got Pete in there. Pete's flying out from Wisconsin. Max DiBiase is always around, like on the phone and everything. Deke's
Oh
always
yeah,
around. So
you got to be available 24/7, like
yeah.
24/7. Like I know for a fact, like I can call Steven or Peter or Zero Day or Max anytime during the day, and I fully expect a response.
Yeah, I feel like I might be the hardest one to get in touch with because I have to put my phone on Do Not Disturb or else I get so
Well, you
distracted.
also have actual IRL obligations going on in a way that some of us other young kings don't.
Yeah, that's also true. But I mean, I'm thankful. I do got Tanner, so like the way I structure it, I was telling Steven and Nick at dinner the other day. Like I take if you have a bigger problem, come to me. But Tanner knows the business on like the logistics side of it just as well as I do. So if you have a problem that's like smaller, don't bother me with it. Just ask Tanner, right? Because I don't want to deal with the small problems. I want to deal with like something that's a little bit bigger, so that way I can save time and work on the admin stuff on the computer. So it's almost like big boss, little boss, right? Like don't come to big boss with little boss problems, and that's kind of like the way I described it, right? So it's like allocation, outsourcing is the name of the game in every aspect.
Yeah, and how do you see that evolving getting into 2024 as well? Because you've obviously done a really good job just on the arbitrage side of things. Do you plan on mixing in any wholesale or other types of stuff?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think G Body might square up if I don't. He's been pushing me. He's been pushing me. He's like, dude, once you get that a first taste of that first PO, you're done with it that way. But No, I do really enjoy sourcing. It's almost like therapeutic a little bit. You're just scrolling through websites, like you're hanging out with the boys on Zoom, like
Oh, it is utterly and absurdly therapeutic. It's work for some people and it's relaxation for other people.
yeah.
It also
So
has to do with the bumps though in the background.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like how in the zone you can potentially get.
Yeah, that's true. I got two dogs that like literally will run up and like jump on my computer and like jump on my lap and distract me, and I'm just like, oh my God, now I'm out of the zone and everything. I feel that.
One
But
specific question I have. So you were all FBM like until like September or so, right? Or were you FBA and stuff as well?
I would say I didn't realize it at the time, and then I looked back at it, but I was like 80% FBM until September.
Cool. That's like I was like, dude, I was like 95 or 98% or something. And it's crazy how many people have been doing this for a while and just have no idea that whole side of things exists. If you just list stuff like it will sell. Like if you especially if you could see that stuff's FBM buy boxing, like just for the banter, I was doing a KPF search this morning. Keep a product find for anyone who's unfamiliar. And it was like I was looking at Nike listings that had a 50% plus drop in competition the past 30 days. And I think there were like 2,400 of them, and it was like 2,350 of them had an FBM buy box. It's like, how can you not make money? Like,
Yeah.
like it's the search is there. You figure out what websites carry those products. A certain amount of them are going to be in stock online. And then all you have to do is go through the checklist and figure out what discounts I can get on these certain websites. And you can even ask customer service. You can ask other sellers. You can use all those coupon Chrome extensions. It's just a fact that you will be able to find stuff profitable, and over time you put together more and more pieces of the puzzle, and great stuff comes out to you. In terms of business wise, as it stands, what's the spread of RA to OA on a normal month?
Um, RA is definitely a lot lower now than it used to be, just because I can find more quantity and more bulk and have an extra set of hands at all times when I'm doing OA. But if there's a specific thing I'm going in to look for that I know like the store has in stock and I like really want it, I'll go grab it. But other than that, it's mostly OA now. I feel like once you scale up and really get a lot of liquidity, um, OA is just more scalable. Even though the margins might not be there, it's just a little more scalable.
Yeah, in the same way, but yeah, I mean what but it's true though, and especially too like that we're filming this, I think like December 26th. Like we're about to get into one of the better RA times of the year, right? Because OA is naturally a lot
Big
slower
time.
in January and February because everyone that doesn't FBM is selling through the stuff that they bought crazy cheap during Black Friday and Christmas sales, etc. Right? And overall volume's a little bit down, but now is when a lot of retail stores do a ton of big clearance as well. So like Walmart secret clearance season's coming. I think last year Kohl's did a big clearance event. I'm sure other types of places will have this too. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity and rewards out there for people who want that stuff. And I think especially just us the past couple of years, we've like I think majorly underrated RA because we always had it easy sourcing OA because we did it together. We knew how to find coupon codes, but most people don't, right? Naturally, it's completely brand new and such. And RA is so substantially more simple. You scan
Mhm.
the price. If it's good, great. Is the sales rank good? Yep. Verify the keep it chart looks good. There we go. Meanwhile, the average OA purchase is like, okay, it's 42. It sells for 78. It was 82 a week ago. Okay. I happen to know that there's a 15% code that this niche coupon extension gives me. Most people don't know that, and that's why that is profitable for me, and it's not profitable for them. But it's so much less feasible to expect a beginner to be able to find those deals as well. So get out there and do some RA. It's I know you've gone in detail and like gotten to know employees and such too, Max. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, when you go in store and you're going to the same store over and over again, you want to have employees that can help you, when new shipments are coming in or a product that you're usually on the lookout for comes in, right? I mean, you might throw them a couple bucks or, it might be the store manager and they get a bonus when you buy a ton of product and they hit their sales goals. Like you want to build those relationships so that way you can communicate directly with somebody who's stocking the shelves, who's unboxing the pallets. So that way you get first dibs on everything that comes in. And that's one of the most elite relationships if you want to scale RA. I kind of had a similar relationship with a store owner that was by me. Eventually, like I ended up not having as much time. I had to focus on 9 to 5, my MBA, Because over the summer it's like you're not taking classes as much. So then once the fall semester started, I kind of had to take a step back from that and do something a little more um reasonable for my workload. But I think it's one of the most important things to an RA operation.
And that's ultimately going to kind of set you up for success when you start to get into wholesale, right? Because that's like, it's interesting, right? A lot of people consider RA as like sort of like the lowest tier, right? RA, OA, wholesale, private label, etc. But like once you start kind of merging the RA model with how most people approach wholesale, well, it becomes a different animal, right? That relationship aspect, the positioning aspect. Are you 9 to 5 right now?
No, 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 I'm not. Um,
But that's where that like
Uh,
gets infinitely more valuable.
yeah, sorry about that. So two things. One, the guys are showing up now, so they're about to start headed down in the basement, start working.
Hell yeah, man. We still got FPM going on and all that. I love it.
And then I always lose track of time when I'm like sourcing or whatever. So then I have alarms set up throughout the day, so that way like I can make sure that I'm making my way through all the stuff that I need to get to. I'm not spending too much time in one area.
Do
Sure.
you have that
So
like the circular clock that Miles and Danny have?
that's the best, bro. Oh my gosh, that thing is
What do
that
you mean?
sounds
I
fun.
just set alarms like daily, like every day. I have
That
12,
works too.
5.
Yeah, that totally works too. So you were really lucky that you or lucky. I hate the word. I literally hate the word luck so much. But even though like I get there's an element of it, but whatever. So you were it was advantageous that you knew someone coming in that was in the space, but you also didn't it probably I mean pretty as good a job as anyone's done in terms of meeting and making friends online. I remember how that initial chat came together. I think I introduced you to Max, right? I made a chat of like us three. I
Yep.
think, and then I think it was either you added Max to the other chat we had, or Max added you to the other chat we had. I can't remember which one it
Max
was.
out of me.
With like Peter and Mason and all those guys, exactly, right? Can you talk about what that actually looks like though? Because that is the number one thing that'll benefit everyone listening. Like everything good in my life has come from making online friendships, and most people are completely have no idea how to actually do it. So can you talk about what you've done to make that happen?
I mean, I just kind of like I make sure I show up every day. I make sure I'm communicating with them every day. Always off. I'm always available. Like you said, always be available to those guys. If you call Zero Day on the phone, he's gonna answer. If you call
Every
Pete on
time.
the phone, he's gonna
Every
answer.
time. Yeah.
And that availability to just be like, yo, and ask a question or like work together on different sales and whatnot. That really keeps you intertwined with one another, just like the daily communication. It's almost like you're starting up with your girlfriend, right? It's like that whole chat is like you're shawty, right? You're just like you're communicating, you're feeding into
Yeah.
the energy.
I'm more
Um,
so mean like square one though. Like, okay, I started this a week ago. I've done $1,200 in sales. I'm
yeah.
listening to these guys on the podcast. They're talking about how they source with their friends, how they're meeting people online. I'm talking like square one, like you just created the Twitter account or just made the Discord account.
All right, square one, if you have an anonymous profile, get rid of it and put your face up because nobody knows what you look like. Therefore, nobody's ever gonna really be like, "Oh my God, join our Zoom call." Like we have no idea who you are.
Mhm.
Two, live in people's comments. Somebody posts a comment or posts a dope picture. You just hop in there and be like, "Dude, that's freaking awesome." Like they post their sales, like be supportive, be a part of the community
Rock
because
emoji or
they're
something,
there.
Yeah, it's huge. And
fire.
that's something where I feel like has really like taken form, taken shape in the community of the past, not even like 2 months, right? The
Yeah.
tags, the screen, the posts on the timeline, the tags, the like the banter around that, the comments, all of that has really come to fruition the past, I mean, literally couple months.
Yeah, it's like it's obnoxious how much easier it is to meet people than it used to be, especially just around Amazon and stuff. And the key is you just got to exist, like, because it's like all the leads, opportunity, and stuff is reserved. Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah. Well, we got part of the FBI
Magnus.
operation. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Nice. And then what are some other kind of just beginner tips you would give to people who are just getting started out, who are looking to find those first couple products and such?
Be patient. It doesn't come right away. Like I think when I first started, um, Danny, I think I forget what his Twitter handle is, but he was like, I was like, dang, like I'm not really finding much right now, and he's just like, bro, just be patient. It will come. Like,
It's
don't
a
force it.
volume game, for sure,
Yeah.
a volume game.
Oh my gosh. If you're a new seller and you don't have the liquidity and a bigger seller says, "Oh, you should hold on this, like you should hold high." If it's profitable and it's where you want it to be, flip it because you need to turn over,
You need to
right?
learn it.
Yeah, you need to turn over. You need to keep, you know, getting new products, shipping it out, making your money. You're gonna win a lot. You're gonna lose some, but you need to make sure that your wins outweigh the losses. And the only way to really do that is if you're moving product and moving it fast, or else you're gonna get stuck, trying to be greedy or like holding on to so much product that at the end of the month your payouts haven't come yet and you can't pay off your plum. And that's kind
Yeah.
of like the name of the game. So move your product. The name of the game is velocity. Um,
How
and
were you able to scale so fast with, capital within mind of capital, right? Because you went from whatever was 40 to 60 to 100 or whatever the case may be, right? But a lot of
Backpack,
people,
maybe.
yeah, for sure. How much did you invest in the beginning? And then obviously I would assume that
Yeah,
you
how
haven't
much
taken
money did
anything
you have
out.
started too? Yeah.
like to put right into because I mean I got your coaching program. So like to overall investment, I would say like 15 to 20
Yes,
G's.
you were doing good stuff in your life prior for sure. Yeah, yeah.
Oh
I
yeah, I
mean,
never
nine to
even
five has a lot to do with that. You were living at home at the time, so I mean, you had a lot. You had earned a ton
Mhm.
of leverage. But for the
Well,
other person that only has five, well,
start
maybe
with what
you
you
have to
got. Yeah. The
exactly.
Nike out's 20 minutes away, right? Like,
Hmm.
like, come on. Like the Nike out's 20 minutes, go scan everything.
Yeah, and I mean I think a big thing actually Keanu Reeves said this, and that's crazy because I mean he's dope, but he kind of said if you're not willing,
He's an actor, right?
I
yeah, yeah, he
yeah.
plays like John Wick and like the guy in the
Oh,
Matrix.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen
Um,
any of those, but
But
it's
he's always like, he said something along the lines of, if you're not willing to take one step back or two steps back in life to move five steps forward, you care too much about what people think and like you won't be successful. So I was living on my own like back down in Westchester. Um, had like three cars at the time. I was making good money from my 9 to 5, but I was just like, dude, like I feel like I could do so much more. So I took one step back, moved back home with my parents, started working out of their basement, and
where
then
he is right
sold.
now, actually.
Yes, actually where I am right now. I'm about to get to work down here in a little bit. And then started working towards, building the Amazon store. Sold one of my cars to my sister's fiance. Wanted to sell my other car, but then it wasn't inspected, and then I didn't want to put new tires on it because I wanted to spend the money on Q4. So I
but
need.
like that looks so differently for other people. Like for Miles, when he was getting started, that was taking a month and two off to rebuild his credit, to
Mhm.
adjust,
That
to
was brutal,
switch
man.
everything over to
Oh
business.
my God, yeah,
Right?
that
But that's what it takes, right? And
Yeah.
so for the people that were like, oh, just like balls to the wall, personal credit, everything. Maybe February for you is I'm gonna lay low. I'm gonna
the perfect time to do
regenerate.
it. Yeah, like I did. I literally
Exactly.
I mean I'm a psycho about stuff, so I like knew the exact dates I was stopping spending on
Yeah.
my and would report and
But
everything.
that's like that may and it may not be the card thing. It may be just simply regenerating your credit. So now you can apply for the plum and set yourself up for absolutely huge 2024 Q4, right? That looks different for everyone.
Is FBM volume down a ton?
It was for like 3 days.
Yeah.
Now it's already
I
How
back
mean,
is
up.
just in general, I think two of the worst 8 days of the year are Christmas Eve and Christmas Day.
yeah.
Oh,
Well, like
Like
the
this
night
whole
of
weekend. Yeah.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. But volume's back up, doing like 5K a day.
yeah,
E-
it's like when you consider where you were like how different your life is, like 8 months ago and everything, how different your friend group is. It's crazy what this stuff can do. That's why like business is the ultimate self-improvement vehicle, I would say for sure.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, dude, like Garrett even says a lot of times, like we were talking about running a marathon earlier, and it's just like that delayed gratification. When you can become accustomed to delayed gratification, you can do amazing things.
Yeah, anything that requires patience, whether it be because I mean, and this is we go back to like converting on just successful business people. Most of the time, they have a previous athletic background, right? Because it's like you show up to the baseball field, you're hitting off the tee for hours and hours and hours, right? That stuff doesn't convert right away. Same thing with lifting in the gym, right? If you can transform yourself into someone with a good physique or a good whatever the case may be, right? Automatically they have it built in them to be successful in this stuff. Same thing with the frat stuff, right? I feel like you guys in your frat.
Well, that's a little bit hotter of a take, but
Well, no, but it's the
let's
personality.
go with it. Oh, okay.
It's the personality, right?
You had to pledge, man. You did have to pledge. Yeah, yeah.
I feel like you guys just naturally attract like those like type A outgoing people, right? If they're not that sort of mold, then they probably get turned away, right? And so it's that type A outgoing personality, persistent, somewhat interesting of a person, that's just naturally going to convert better.
Yeah, that's what's
Yeah,
up. And then
100%.
where can people find you on the socials, Max Body?
So on Twitter and Instagram at Fulfilled by Max, but it's probably gonna change to at Big Cat FBA pretty soon.
It's
I
hard.
didn't change the at off the rip, so look out for either one of those. Uh, especially since at Miami Seller Conference they wrote at Big Cat FBA. So
That was my bad. That
I
was
gotta,
my
I
bad.
gotta match it now. So I was like, oh, I was gonna change it anyways. Now's the time to do it.
Yeah. Okay, so that and then follow the FBM Cup, and just in general, I think one of the best things if you guys are really brand new, this what you can do is just follow a ton of people that are on this in the space, right? So go through, see the people Garrett's interacting, see the people I'm interacting with, see the people Max interacting, who are tagging, who's in our replies, and just follow a bunch of people, and it's gonna slowly just acclimate you with a lot of like the lingo, a lot of like little tips here and there. I think that'll be a very good thing for you guys and everything. But happy to know you, Kat, and excited to do another dinner when I'm back up in PA.